This would be a very brief session. 2 panels, very quick. And then, of course, we get to launch the AYPF vision and logo. A round of applause for Benedict Lassie.
Hello. Thank you very much. And a very warm welcome to the maiden or inaugural edition of the African Youth in Politics Forum. At the start of the day, we were privileged to host the very first African Political Parties Summit. This summit came about after the launch of the African Political Parties Initiative in March this year by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The vision of the APPI is simply to have critical conversations about politics, is to begin to question how politics is undertaken on the continent, and identify the key stakeholders that would make the change that we all yearn and advocate for. Now there are institutional developments on the continent over the past couple of years that have sought to advance good governance on the continent. There has been significant progresses that have been made, but we cannot stop there. As the launch video was showcased this morning, yes, we've made several advances. We've had the fight for liberation from the 50s to the 70s. And now, one can argue that the continent is actually liberated politically. But there is one last aspect of the liberation that is required, which is economic liberation. How do we achieve this? These are the questions that the African Political Parties Initiative seeks to answer. In the vision of the APPI, there are about 4 key aspects of stakeholder engagement that are lined up by the center. The first and the most, I'd say the most central of them is the African Political Parties Summit, which we are currently hosting in Ghana. But we also realized that there was the need for us as a people to have inclusive platforms to advance the interests of both young people and women. And so on the 8th of March this year, we had the privilege of hosting the very first African Women Political Leadership Summit, where we had women leaders from various parts of the continent joining us to have the very first summit dedicated to women in politics, whether they were MPs, ministers, women in the political party structures. We felt that there was a need for us to have conversations about inclusivity and also having policies that address the needs of women. That summit was very successful, and we are looking forward to hosting that of next year in March as well. We also began to have a conversation about the second leg of our inclusivity mechanisms. And we recognize that young people have led the charge in the development of our continent for several decades. If we look at the liberation movement, most of them were championed by young people. And we believe that young people on the continent currently have a lot of role to play in the next chapter of the continent. And so the idea of having an African Youth in Politics Forum as part of the African Political Parties Initiative was to address that critical question of how we mobilize young people in politics to begin to have those strategic development of the different agendas that would help in the transformation of the continent. And so we are privileged that today in Accra, we are hosting the inaugural African Youth in Politics Forum. I am happy that we are hosting this here because initially, we're not built to have the African Youth in Politics Forum in Ghana. And it was simply because we were hosting the main African Political Party Summit here in Ghana in July, and we had pushed it now to August. Being here, we decided that instead of hosting two parallel events in two different locations, it was important that we consolidate and have the Youth Forum here as well. And so my simple message to you this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished leaders of the various youth organizations and countries, is that as young people, we have a critical role to play. That role is not one that we have the opportunity to choose whether or not we would play that role. We can either decide to look on and talk about the challenges that we face, or we take matters into our hands as political leaders, young political leaders in different political parties and in government as well, to chart a course that would answer the critical questions that young people on the continent have for us. And so in my brief notes to you, my last words would be that let us have this conversation in the spirit of solidarity with each other. We've had youth organizations on the continent gather at the National Youth Authority levels, but at the political level, there has been very limited engagement to ensure that we have that integrated network of young people in politics championing a collective agenda. And we are hoping that this platform becomes that. It becomes the platform that would put together young people in politics, young MPs, young ministers, youth leaders of the different political parties to begin to brainstorm. We are privileged in Ghana to, for the first time, have our president set up a dedicated ministry for youth development and empowerment. It is the first time in Ghana that we are having this ministry. But that feat was achieved by the collective efforts of young people. We have also seen that through that effort, through that policy implementation, there has been a lot more resources allocated to the development of young people, whether it is training or capacity building, or entrepreneurship development, or simply youth empowerment and employment. And so we have to begin to strategize about policies that, as young people in politics, we need to begin to advocate for and push for to ensure that our colleagues who are not at the table when those decisions are being taken would have a voice that represents them and not just us. So my dear friends and comrades, I thank you once again for joining us for this inaugural session of the African Youth in Politics Forum. I wish all of us very fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Benedicta Lassey, the Executive Chairperson for the AGC. Let me wait a bit for the podium to be ready. All right, but while we wait, maybe let me just do something little for you. Take me back to when the moon was in full glare at the public square in no other part of Ebibiman than by the big white edifice constructed by the Danes by the sea when families sat to enjoy the night meals and plan the days ahead. When we were stripped of our own panties in our own nation, crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination working under another man's supervision. We were made to believe we were the worst on earth and needed no education, for they knew what will become of us if we had more information. Our names were changed from Kofi to Kofi, from Kunta Kinte to Toby, from Busumfi to Busumfield. Until the day a man marched us all to Lincoln Memorial to tell us about his dream, to tell us not to wallow in the valley of despair, to tell us that a day will come when the black man will no more be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. And so we didn't hesitate as we all gathered at Lincoln Memorial to hear the story of a hero since we had long awaited to be emancipated from slavery. We supported him with so much bravery, devoid of any thoughts of treachery. We were filled with so much pride and confidence knowing who we were. We knew we had something so great. Yet all those times, they made us feel our skin was a metaphor. Now we found ourselves again. And that's why I am not ashamed to call myself the son of a black man, because I know that I'm privileged, even though they hid my father from the knowledge of his origin and fed him with tiny porridge. And that's why I hesitate not each time I pick up my boots to do the black march. I don't care if they hoot at my color. Because being black is knowing that Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice M. Lumumba, Nelson Mandela, Julius Nyerere, Tafawa Balewa, and the likes fought to redeem us from the hands of Mr. Rooney. Being black is that infectious smile I have on my face when my brother greets me in the morning with that odor emanating from his buccal cavity. Being black is knowing that the MPP's elephant stands under PNC's coconut tree for shade, walks through the rain with NDC's umbrella over its head for protection from GCPP's those droppings. Being black is knowing that CPP's cock, which Kwame Nkrumah left behind, shall crow at dawn, awaken us all to PPP's call, pick UFP's keys, open our doors to peace, stability, and development. Thank you. All right, so that was just a brief interlude. We shall now go on with the program. And Mauli, thank you very much for helping set up the microphone. So as I mentioned, it's going to be a very brief, straight-to-the-point program. But before then, let me quickly acknowledge some of the dignitaries that we have joining us here this afternoon. Benedicta Lasse, the Executive Chairperson for AGC, who we already heard speak. We have joining us here this afternoon as well, Mr. Amose Blessing is the Deputy CEO of Waste. Mr. Amose Blessing, are you here? Let's see you. All right, great. Of course, we have Madame Felicity Nelson. She's the Deputy CEO of GTDC, Ghana Tourism Development Company. Madame Felicity Nelson. I know where she's seated because she's my friend. Of course, we also have the Deputy Director General of the Ghana TVET, Mr. Fatah Mahama. He's here as well. We have Madame Naomi Alabi. She's also a CEO of GTC, Deputy CEO of GTC, sorry. Madame Naomi Alabi. Of course, my very good friend and brother, Kofi Tuo, Deputy CEO of Tree Crop Development Authority, is here as well. Of course, not forgetting the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission. If you see him on TV, he's chasing illegal miners. Mr. Elikem Kotoko. The woman who is in charge of ensuring that a lot of you young people, your businesses get funding for the projects you're supposed to run and make sure your businesses succeed. Madame Joanne Selassie Aheodo is here. She's the Deputy CEO of NEIP. The Board Chairman of the National Service Authority, Mr. Okai Minta, is here as well. We also have with us the CEO of the National Youth Authority, Mr. Osman Ayarga, is here as well. He is also the Deputy National Youth Organizer of the National Democratic Congress. His party is in power. He's a big man. We have the Member of Parliament for Bosome Freho constituency, the Honorable Asafo Ejei, with us in the House, ladies and gentlemen. He's also the former Vice Chair of IYDU. We have with us a Deputy Minister and SLPP National Youth Generation Leader, all the way from Sierra Leone, Engineer Francis Alpha Kalon. The Executive Director of Todes Global Network, I hope I got it right, Mr. Manuel Ntumba is here with us as well. Manuel Ntumba. Okay. As and when I get a new list, I'll definitely come and update all of us of the dignitaries that we have joining us. On the program outline, we should have the keynote address, but because our keynote speaker just walked in, I want to give him time to settle in proper, and then we'll let him come in and give us a keynote. But we'll take the first panel discussion, and our speakers for the first panel. So when I mention your name, you come in and grab a seat. We'll invite the board chair of the National Service Authority, Mr. Okai Minta. Let's welcome with a round of applause. Coming up next is the Member of Parliament for Bosome Freho and the former Vice Chair for IYDU, Honorable Asafo Ejei. We also have Deputy Minister and SLPP National Youth Generation Leader from Sierra Leone, Engineer Francis Alpha Kalon. Manuel Ntumba, Executive Director of Todes Global Network. Manuel Ntumba would also be joining this panel. Round of applause for Manuel, please. Madam Joan Selassie Ahiaodo, Deputy CEO, NEIP, is on this panel as well. Let's welcome her with a round of applause. Can we put the lady in the middle, please? Can we put the lady in the middle, please? Thank you. Oh, let's give Honorable a round of applause.
Gender sensitive.
I have 7 sisters, so I'm very biased when it comes to women. 7 beautiful sisters. They are all married, please. I don't like pressure. The moderator for this session, of course, my very good friend and brother, David. Let's give David a round of applause as he comes on stage.
Hello? Hello? Why does it sound like I'm talking to some 95-year-olds? Hello? Okay, now that sounds better. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very important session. I'm extremely delighted to be here with you this morning, and particularly because I am looking at the panel, and it is incredibly a youthful panel. So please, at this point, put your hands together for our panel. And they are representing what we are talking about, moving away from marginal inclusion to youth in leadership. Well, this session that we are going to be having, that is the theme for this session, which is moving from marginal inclusion to youth in leadership. What must change? That is the question that we are asking ourselves tonight. What really must change? And it's quite interesting that they decided not to give me a seat. So I would stand and try to have this session. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, just to quickly highlight our panel for this evening. We have Okai Minta, who is the board chair of the National Service Authority right here. Please put your hands together for him one more time. Asafo Ejei is the MP for Bosome Freho, former vice chair of IYDU. Please put your hands together for him one more time. The only female on the panel, Joan Selassie Ahiaodo, Deputy CEO, NEIP. Please, let's celebrate her. And of course, Engineer Francis Alpha Kalon, Deputy Minister and SLP NYSPP National Youth Generational Leader from Sierra Leone. Please put your hands together for him. And then Manuel Intumba, Executive Director of Todes Global Network. Now, Manuel flew all the way from the US to be part of this panel. It shows you how he's very passionate about youth in leadership. So, you are welcome, and I am David Quay. Now, starting off, like I did mention, our theme is for marginal inclusion in political leadership. What must change? And my first question to the panel, and starting with Intumba, my brother, from where you sit as a young person, what are some of the most entrenched political and institutional barriers that prevent young people from being in politics, in leadership particularly, not just being followers of political leaders?
Sure. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I'm glad to be here and to be speaking here today. So I will briefly give a case study, let's say, to answer quickly your question by giving as example myself. So a few years ago, I was a young research engineer, and I got the opportunity, because I'm binational, so from the DR Congo and from Togo as well. So I was given the opportunity to serve as an advisor to the African Union Presidential Panel under the presidency of the DR Congo. And afterward, I got the opportunity to join the United Nations Geospatial Committee. And while I was serving as a member of the diplomatic delegation to that committee during the General Assembly of 2022, in New York, I was recognized as one of the 25 most influential people of African descent in politics and governance under the age of 40. So what I would like to highlight here is that some of the main barriers usually come from the fact that the youth is reduced only to being a youth. The very first opportunity that I got to advise the African Union Presidential Panel under the presidency of DR Congo was because of my background as a research engineer. So just to highlight once again that it's important for the youth to be visible, to make sure that they are known for what they are bringing to the table. And my portfolio as advisor was focusing on emerging technologies. But ever since I get the opportunity to advise on different organizations and different multilateral funds on different, I would say, fields or different sectors, but it started from being a young research engineer. So it's important that as a young generation, we make sure that we bring something additional to the table. And we make sure that we are not just known as mobilizers, as activists, but we are known for what we are bringing, the value we are bringing to the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quite a rich background he has. And of course, we are really honored to have you on this panel. Now I'm going to go to the only female on the panel. As a young woman who has had the opportunity to serve in governance, of course, we are talking about not just being included, but really holding the fort. What have you recognized as some of the barriers when it comes to youth involvement?
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Let me use the opportunity to, as we know, Ghana, we are mourning, and these fallen heroes were once upon a time young people who started as all of us, young people. Some of them have inspired us to be where we are today, and it's important that at least we pay some respect to their memories, and I would wish to ask if we can observe 1 minute silence for these great men who have perished, in Ghana. May their souls rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
So as a young woman in politics, what has helped or shaped me to be where I am today wouldn't be too different from what my brother has indicated. Putting yourself out there right from the beginning. And so for me, I started from the student level. I was 19 when I actively put myself out there in political participation. So it started very early, even before 19, because right from my JHS primary school, I was always very much interested in student politics. And so I was a girls prefect in primary school, girls prefect in JHS, and then girls prefect in secondary school, Ola Girls. And then when I progressed to the University of Ghana, I pulled myself out there and joined my party's tertiary youth wing, Teyin, University of Ghana. Very active participation, became a constituency youth organizer, constituency executive. I was a branch youth organizer, branch women organizer, and a member of the National Youth Wing Working Committee for the party, and then progressed also to become a legal director for my party in my constituency. And so my political journey was shaped by the very steps that I took right from the beginning. When I was starting off, from primary school, from JHS, and then secondary school, I didn't have that, mindset that I wanted to be into national politics. But along the way, you would realize that nature has a way of shaping us. Once you take the steps, it directs your path, And I would say it's a very important thing for all of us as young people, the young ones here who are still in school. Put yourself out there. It shapes you in terms of confidence, in terms of political acumen, understanding, the dynamics of politics and all that. When you start early, it helps shapes you and aligns you properly. So on my part, this is briefly what I would want to say has been, the preparatory grounds for my political participation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, my next question, which is going to Mr. Okai Mintah, is basically about the fact that there's some who are pushing the argument that just as we are making laws about women inclusion and youth inclusion, perhaps it's about time that we persuaded political leaders to institutionalize young people in governance. So the political parties perhaps need to be told that, well, you have a threshold in your governance or in the governance structure or architecture. We want to have or see to it that about 40% of the representation on boards, CEOs, and whatnot are young people. Ms. Okai Mintah, what is your take on the fact that it's about time that perhaps we persuaded the political class and the political institutional, parties to ensure young people in politics?
Thank you very much, my brother, and good evening to all of us. Coming to your question, the persuasion wouldn't come from anybody unless with the young people. It's about how strategic we become and getting a single voice to be able to speak to the political class or those within the helms of affairs to listen and take what we decide or what we want into, into action. I won't take you back just before this 2024 election. In the NDC, and in the history of this country, exactly a year today, we first launched the National Youth Manifesto, which has never happened in this country before. This whole idea of the Youth Manifesto came from the youth wing of the party. And it was because we believe that about half of the electorate on the register are young people. We can't keep on doing the same old things, having the National Manifesto launched, where we don't tease out issues related to the young people and let them understand what the future government of John Mahama has for them. So it was a situation where we came together as a youth front. It wasn't easy. We went to the main manifesto committee to have an engagement with them. And my brother is here. He's one of them. I mean, those who had authority to be like, you know what, will allow you guys to go on, didn't see the reason why we should have a separate manifesto launched just for young people, different from the main one. But we made our point clear to them. We had a single voice at the time. We were then led by our youth minister, the now youth minister, who is the national youth organizer. We explained the situation to them and let them understand that, you know what, in this election, it's the young people who determine who becomes the president. So if you allow us to be able to launch a manifesto which will relate with the young people, then we will be able to speak to them as to why they should vote for the NDC for us to win power. Apart from that, this was the very first time that the national chairman of our party, seeing that we have a single voice director, that, you know what, there will be really a youth campaign. So if you see President Mahama, Prof. Jane, the national chairman elsewhere with national executives, you always find the national youth organizer and his executives and the various working committee members moving into the various regions just to campaign to young people. And we can all attest to the fact that this election was won by the young people. So the persuasion that we are looking for will not come from anybody. It will come from us. When we young people come together with a single voice and let those in authority know that, you know what, this is the path that we want to chart, I believe that we'll do it. President Mahama has set a standard now. Even in the next future MPP government, which will come probably about 35 years to come, would they have a choice than to appoint young people into positions to man the affairs of this country? Thank you very much.
Well, I know that may be, shaking some feathers in the place. But they'll be fine, indeed, they'll be fine. This is not to jab anybody, really. It is a case of really ensuring that young people are not just backbenchers when it comes to political leadership. Well, we always talk about inclusion, and one thing that I have recognized is the fact that, yes, you have young people on, for instance, on boards, on, committees for policy making and whatnot. But the real question is, are they just there for representation purposes, or they are there because their voice really matters? That is the question that we are asking today, and we want to find a solution through our conversations. Now, I'm going to move straight up to my engineer from Sierra Leone. Well, perhaps for many of us who are here, do not have experience about the political climate in Sierra Leone. As a young leader, a generational leader, in fact, from Sierra Leone, what is your take when it comes to youth involvement, not just at the back, but at the forefront of political leadership?
Thank you so much, moderator. We all know young people are often excluded in political leadership due to systematic barriers. Looking at key barriers in politics, like limited opportunities, lack of trust, not having civic engagement and education. These are all factors we looked at, and these are factors that are supposed to be taken away for young people to have access to leadership platform. For us in Sierra Leone, we have a dynamic leader of our party who happens to be the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Julius Maada Bio. First, he empowered us both on the side of politics in the party and also on the side of governance. He has placed value on the youth of Sierra Leone and those of the youth in the Sierra Leone People's Party. For us in politics, His Excellency, under his leadership, he said, guys, I think we have to change the narrative. Before 2021, we have the young generation leader being elected. Both the old and young will be voting for the National Young Generation Leadership position. And he said, no, this is not fair. If we say young people should participate in politics, let them take decisions by themselves. And he said, now let's establish the National Young Generation Council. And he established the National Young Generation Council, where only young people will come together as a conference and elect their leaders. He started in that footing by instilling trust and confidence in us first in the party. And then we started off from there. So now we have the National Young Generation Council, where young people can participate, can articulate issues relating to governance, issues relating to socio-economic activities, issues relating to politics and other policies and programs that affect the growth of youth. And then we have a very strong council. Fast forward to the 2023 election when he was seeking for his mandate as President of the Republic for his second term. He said, the young generation, are you guys ready for leadership? We say yes. We had a conference in Kenema, one of the districts in Sierra Leone, in 2023. We asked for 30% quota for youth appointment in all positions of trust in the country. But guess what? The leader gave us more than 50% of trusted position in governance. With all of those, you look at everything that is happening in Sierra Leone. Even the Prime Minister of the Republic of Sierra Leone is a young person. He's under 40. The Foreign Affairs Minister is under 40. Here, I am sitting, I'm a minister, I'm under 35. But we always look at this. This is what plays the difference that youth should always portray so that our leaders will have trust in us. We have to be consistent in whatever we are doing that is right. We have to be committed in pushing things that will change the narrative for the furtherance of your party and also for the country. Because when you have a strong, patriotic political party, then you have a progressive and a prosperous nation. And this is what our leader did first. He positioned the Sierra Leone People's Party to be a patriotic party so that Sierra Leone will be a prosperous nation. So if you can ask me about the experience in the politics in Sierra Leone, for our own side in Sierra Leone, this is what the leader has done, and this is how he has placed his confidence and trust in the young people of Sierra Leone. And Sierra Leone is blessed, and the young people are now striving. Even other political parties, the opposition party, can say everything about SLPP, but they will say it is unprecedented the way His Excellency has placed trust in young people, both in politics and in governance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I guess it is something that we can perhaps relate to in this current dispensation that we find ourselves. It's a cycle that perhaps it is blowing. It's a wind that is blowing across the continent. And we are having, a political party, for instance, as we are having in Ghana, also increasing the number of young people in leadership. And the party is being celebrated for that. And we do hope that in the coming years, really, that will be the case, not just in the NDC or in the MPP, but in all political parties across the continent. Now, moving to Honorable for some Freho, Asafo J. My question really is that what has really worked for young people to be in politics, in leadership particularly? You are a young MP from Kumasi somewhere. What are the strategies and how can we accelerate on that to increase the numbers in leadership?
Okay, thank you. I'm grateful for the platform and the opportunity. I am also grateful to the organizers for putting up such a very splendid program, and also to my co-panelists. I would have hitherto let it go, but this would also be a word for all of us. But when we won power in 2016, some of us felt the NDC would never come to power again. So if I hear my colleague giving us 35 years, it means we are near, because we never thought you would be coming.
Now, what for me is important, and to answer your question, is for the youth to have a plan. Trust me, you need a plan. You must sit down, identify who you are, what are your strengths, your weaknesses, what do you think you are good in, and pick it. In fact, make sure you sharpen that strength well. Look at all the appointees they are mentioning, all the young ones in this current government, in the past government. Every one of them, I believe, had a plan. I am not one of those people who would tell you that, oh, in fact, my constituency needed somebody, blah, 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 and then they chose me. No. I had everything planned from day one. I knew I would be Bosomefrɛ MP one day. I was planning towards it, working towards that plan. So please, just get a plan. When you get the plan, it is the plan that will tell you what to do. The plan will tell you need to upgrade here. You need to adjust here. Go and do this program, because where you want to go, you need this particular program. Be friends with this young man, because the area you are looking at, this is the young man that is good within our terms. Look at this old man. He is the one that you want to take over from. Start learning, start monitoring, start watching. So it is the plan that will direct you. So it doesn't just come. Trust me. Senior Likem is here. We've worked from the Genus platform and then a lot of places before. I knew him. I would have been surprised there would be an NDC government without Senior Likem. I would be surprised, because I knew that he is moving towards a certain path. Osman is here. A lot of friends I have. In the other side too, you have a lot of friends. The point is, each and every one of them, when you get close to them, will tell you that there is a well-documented plan. Perhaps they might not write it, but they have it somewhere. And they move according to the plan. I believe Osman is here. The next 10 years, he has a plan where to go. So he's working towards where to go. So please, it doesn't just come. Because we are so many. The youth within the party, the youth outside the party, you're dorsal. So you must have a plan and let the plan guide your steps. And when you have a plan and the plan is guiding your steps, you keep your focus. There will be a lot of things that will come at you. Even within the party, I keep telling my friends that our fiercest competitors are not in the NDC. They are within the MPP. That's so the same way. The fiercest competitors you have, Osman, they are not in MPP. No, you don't have a competition in MPP. You have them in NDC. So keep your focus. Make sure you monitor through the plan. Somewhere, somehow, you deviate a little bit. But just come back to track. So if you ask me, the strategy, what worked for me, what I know have worked for a lot of young ones, are always keeping to their plan. They don't move, they don't shake, they keep their focus, and they review their plan as and when. So when we are in opposition now, I have reviewed my plan, because when I was coming to parliament, I thought I was coming to parliament in government. So I had a plan to be MP in government. Now I'm in MP in opposition. So I go back to the table and review the plan and say, okay, so this is how I want to stay in opposition. Whether 4 years, whether 8 years. Then when we come to power, there is a plan. Always have a plan. Else, there will be opportunities, there will be platforms, the old men will hand over opportunities to you. Because you don't have a plan, you will waste it. You won't make any good use of it. So please, to answer your question, I think strategies that will best work for us. The laws are there. We need to work on the laws. There are a lot of things we need to stereotype. We need to work on it. The economic hardship, we need to work on all of them. But I believe strongly that if there is a plan, it will navigate you through all these challenges. And you'll get there. Maybe I would say this for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable. And like he did say, indeed, we have the numbers. As it was a parlance in Ghana, they say, yeah, dumb. We have the numbers. If a continent with a population over 60% of it being young people, you ask yourself, why then is it the case that there are issues of young people in leadership? Now that ties back to my question, the next question that I have about political party financing. That was a very key theme in today's session on the African Political Party Summit, and the fact that one of the main hindrances that young people face that has been discussed is the issue of political financing and also stereotypes. So there are people who say that, well, you're a young person, you need some time to learn. You cannot be an MP at 30 years or 20 years. What have you seen in life? Where have you been? You just finished University of Ghana, you want to be an MP? Are you serious? These are some of the conversations that we hear on the regular. As a young person in politics and observing what is happening as a trend, what comment do you have on the role of party financing and stereotypes in limiting youth in leadership? And that question goes to Okai Minta.
Thank you very much. And I don't know why you asked me this question first anyway. Naturally, I believe I was born a mobilizer, more especially how to be able to mobilize resources. Party financing is not a cheap thing. And what I will leave with most of our young people is, before you venture into party politics, find something doing for yourself before you do that. Don't just think that, you know what, I feel that I've gotten there, so I want to do it. You might have all the brain, you might have all the intelligence, all the strategies, but trust me, if you're not careful, whatever you have in you will never come out. Party financing, every party is owned by the party members. Nobody sits anywhere outside our continent and will come and finance us. We're definitely in Ghana. If it's in the NDC, it's the members of the NDC that will finance it. So party financing, I believe we all should, one way or the other, find a professional, find something doing that would generate personally something for us to be able to contribute to the success of the party financing. If not, we will leave the party in the hands of a few who have been able to make it, and they will determine the pace one after the other. Thank you very much.
So this question goes across the panel. I just want everybody to hear your view or opinion on that. So next we'll take that of Engineer as a young leader in Sierra Leone. What's your take on that as well?
Thank you so much, moderator. On my perspective, I think party financing is very key, because I think these are factors that have a connection to corruption. So you have to see how best you can be able to place your party that it can be financially viable. One is recruitment of membership is very key, because making your party very sexy, the young people who are the greatest of membership, they have to contribute and make sure that the party has the required resources to finance itself for political elections. So local content is also a very key factor, because you have to make sure that these opportunities are being circled around, meaning in the country, so that your economy will be very good. People will be happy to pay their dues. People will be happy to do donations to the party, and also institutionalizing the party to make an investment where you will have returns. You'll be able to make sure that the party will have the required resources to run its affairs. I think that is very key. That will be my contribution on that side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And my final question, which will go to our only female panelist and also to my brother here, is that what role can mentorship, capacity building, and leadership pipelines be structured in a way that can ensure youth in leadership?
Thank you. So, in terms of mentorship, it is very critical for the political growth and maturity of every young person. Indeed, even those who are matured politically still need political mentorship for the next step of their lives. So it is very, very, very important. But let me quickly say that we are lucky as young people today because of social media. You actually do not need to have somebody holding your hand in order for you to receive mentorship. Today, with a click, you can actually have a mentor and follow the mentor through. At the student level, like I indicated earlier, most of these people we have seen on screen, some of them we haven't met before. You will see names and persons such as Haruna Idrisu in those days, how they speak in parliament, their contributions on TV and others. Even though you have not met them personally before, you admire them, and sometimes you even want to mimic how they speak and present themselves in the public space. And so sometimes you would find a lot of young people say, oh, it's difficult reaching this person. I like you. It is difficult to, get close to you. A lot of them have a lot on their hands. All of us sitting here, the workload, you have no idea. So if you want to wait to meet someone one-on-one for mentorship to be done, it will be difficult. Wherever you are, the opportunities available through social media, use them. And when necessary, align with them and, develop yourself. In terms of strategic ways of putting our youth out there, I have indicated earlier. Look, in terms of capacity building, it is very key. I would never speak to any young person without bringing in capacity. I don't think that I would have been appointed if I didn't have the capacity. I had done all the politics right from Legon, my first degree till today. But if the president or the appointing authority didn't feel that I had the capacity, I don't think that I would have been considered. And you are not only being considered because you're a young person, your output is very important to the appointing authority. And today we have a lot of young people who are holding very key positions, first in the history of this country. And all of us here can attest, in terms of the economic performance of this country and what have you, things are not the same. A lot of young people are at the forefront, and I can beat my chest to say it is because these young people have built capacity. They have what it takes to, handle their institutions. That is why the transformations and the novel things that we are seeing in governance today is happening. And so I will encourage you. Mentorship is very key, but be strategic about it. When it comes to capacity building, it is non-negotiable. Do not pursue your political, agenda and leave your personal capacity building out of the line. Blend the two together, and in fact, when necessary, always choose your capacity building over the other. And at the right time, you'll be called upon. When you are called upon, it is only when you are adequately prepared that you can adequately deliver. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And finally, we'll take your view in Tumba, and then I open the floor for you, our wonderful audience, to ask a few questions before we move to our next session. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. And once again, I would like to say that I agree 100% with what all the panel members just said. And one aspect in terms of capacity building, I'm going to bring this back to the youth community, because what I have seen is that usually what stops us is that as young people, once we bring what we have on the table and then we get appointed, then there is ego that comes. It's like, okay, I am this, I am that, and it stops us because we start comparing ourselves to others, and it stops us. But what is important here is that we need to keep learning. It's important to keep growing because internationally people are growing, people are moving very fast. And for us to be the next generation to build Africa, it's important for us to keep growing. So even if we have we have titles, we have achievements, it's important for us to keep in mind that we still have to learn from mentors, we still have to learn from the outgoing generation because they have more experience than us. And so my advice maybe to end my response to this question is humility. Regardless of your title, regardless of your achievement, it's important to keep yourself humble and to keep learning. Thank you.
Indeed, to keep learning and mastering your skill. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any question for our panelists? Unfortunately, we can only take 5 questions. We move to the next panel, and if you have more questions, we can take them. So I saw this beautiful lady lifting her hand up first. So please tell us your name, where you're coming from, and your question. Straight to the point, no lungu-lungu.
Thank you so much. The panel discussion has been very thoughtful. My name is Josephine Wolali Adachi. I'm a passionate gender advocate and a communication strategist as well. So my question will be to our only beautiful panelist. As a gender advocate, I have some concerns about how the political parties and the underlying relationship it has with the decision-making space in Ghana. So we have quite a number, according to the Good Governance Africa, the percentage of African women representation in parliament was 12%. By 2020, it was 25%. How can we ensure that this number continues to rise? Yes, we've had the introduction of the affirmative action law, but what else can be done to make sure that women are being represented and they are making the decisions to help Ghana improve and Africa as a whole? Thank you so much.
So that question is for you. I'll take the next question. I'm going to scan through. Okay. You pass it to the gentleman at the back.
Hello, thank you very much. My name is Carlos. I'm the Executive Director for Africa Youth Forum International. Yes, this panel is such an amazing panel, and I love the fact that one of the moderators said the youth needs to have a plan, because one of the things I've seen over the continent is that everybody wants to lead, but we don't have a direction. So where are we leading? My question is, as the lady rightly said, 2.5...
Can you get the microphone closer to you?
Right. 2.5% of 50% of the global population is young people, and yet only 2.5% of these young people are represented in any parliamentary affairs. Meaning that if you are to pick 365 days, which is the whole year, young people will only have 10 days for their voice to be represented. And this is the data coming from the UN Youth Office that we work mostly with. And so my question is, what are we doing to allow the young people, not just only in leadership roles, but also to help them expand their business? Because not everybody is going to be in politics. Not everybody is going to be in governance. What are we doing to also drag the young people within the bottom lines, those at the grassroots level, to be able to fit in or make the system so conducive that anytime they start their business, it can actually expand to the highest level? So these are my questions to you. What are the mechanisms put in place to allow young people to flow? Thank you.
Is there anybody your question is directed to, or anybody can take it?
Yeah, anybody can open it, take it.
Okay, please put your hands together for 2 questions so far. I think I'm going to take a very final question. So let's move to the front up here. I'm just going to pick this beautiful lady here as well. Yes. Please pass the microphone to the lady in black.
Good afternoon. I am Jessica Sky, External Affairs President of Wisconsin University. During the submissions, it was mentioned that some of the strategies we need to apply is to be visible, known, and to offer something. But here lies the case where in Ghana, I think there's a problem with equity. Most people do not have their opportunities. Some opportunities are sometimes reserved for the party members. So we are not in any party, we find it difficult to, grab such opportunities. So what can be done for such opportunities to be distributed equally? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's just about time for us to begin answering these questions so that we can wrap up to our next panel.
Very interesting questions. And so let me deal with the first one first. How do we increase female participation in our politics, if I am right? I believe in laws. As a legal practitioner, laws are very good, but I have also come to understand that laws without action is always, you don't get results. So like you have indicated, we have all the beautiful laws, the affirmative action bill. Now we have a law and all that in place. Now, to my young and fellow women here, I think that our participation or the increment of our participation in politics largely depends on us. The system has been set rolling. If you go to our various political parties, I think most of the NDC, NPP in Ghana here have all given some percentage, of the application processes for people who want to contest for elections. I think you have 50% for filing fees. All these are measures to soften the ground for us. Now, coming into our appointment this time round, a lot of the MMDC appointments that happen in this country, once you are a female on the list and you have the capacity, you are being considered. Now, the question comes, how many of us have been willing to put ourselves out there? Let me quickly say that the political arena is a very toxic one. You don't get into politics and expect for toffees and ice creams to be thrown at you. For most of us, including myself, the least thing we shelve and go back. When you go back, nobody is going to pull you out there. We need to start thinking and accept that this is where we find ourselves. This is the space. Politics is the competition of ideas. Politics is the competition. In fact, when I was doing political science, I remember Ada Andrew Haywood, or one of the political philosophers' definition of politics is who gets what, when, and how. Who gets what, when, and how. Who gets what, when, and how. And it is a competition of ideas, competition and struggle for resources. And so you wouldn't expect the arena to be, very smooth and relaxing. It is not a spa. It's a football field. We need to psych ourselves as women. We have every single potential. We have every single capability to do well. The laws are in favor. Indeed, now, even development partners, when you put political programs and activities in place and you do not reserve some for women, they are unwilling to come on board to support you. The universe has aligned in our favor as women. Now it is time for us to show ourselves out there. Young women even going to TV to communicate. It's so difficult. It took me more than 3 good years to show my face on TV to communicate for the NDC. It took Sami Jemfi and others calling me, you can do it. They had to push before I accepted to go to TV to communicate. But all of us will agree this is one of the key platforms to shoot you out there politically. So let's begin to consciously and deliberately psych our minds and tune our minds that this is the space we are in. We are not coming to eat ice cream. We are coming to compete for resources. We are coming to compete with ideas. Now, the next question I think has to do with youth. I think you spoke about the fact that the Focus shouldn't just be about youth in politics, but we should also be considering those who want to go into businesses. How do we support young businesses to ensure that, they survive? Let me give this good news to you, that I represent my institution here, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovations Program, NEIP, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has been so magnanimous to us young people that he wants a Jumara to be rolled out for young people. And a Jumara is to support 10,000 youth-led businesses every year. 10,000 youth-led businesses every year. And here, you are talking of mentorship, you are talking of business market opportunities for these people, young people. You are talking of funding opportunities for these young people. I've been across the country. 2 weeks ago, I was in Oti region and the Volta region, and you find a lot of young people doing amazing things. For some of them, you have to go across the river in Oti to go and see them, Oti farms and what have you. His Excellency has put everything is in place. We opened a Jumara application. We're all over in the news. Out of the 10,000 that we are talking, as we speak now, we have 120,000 applications from young people. And all these people, we are speaking with development partners. Government has given a seed money of 100 million Ghana cedis to support these businesses. But looking at the enthusiasm of young people for Ejumara, what can the development partners do to support? And a lot is going to happen. You go to the National Youth Authority, you have the National Apprenticeship Program, and another good news with the National Apprenticeship Program is that it's not just about the hard skills. After being trained as a carpenter, after being trained as a mason, after being trained as a hairdresser, when you receive this training and you want to set up your business, then now National Youth Authority, whose CEO is here in the person of Mr. Osman Ayariga, will now send you or offload you to NEIP for your business to be set up with business, startup capital and what have you. So the government is deliberate about young people. It is not just, we have agreed that now entrepreneurship is what is ruling the world, and the president also knows that young people are not just the future, but the now of this country. And these beautiful policies have been put in place for you. All the bureaucratic, barriers that, are in place that sometimes push away young people from even stepping into businesses, registration businesses, and what have you. All these things are catered for under Ejumara. And so I would encourage you to go to your social media pages and follow the National Entrepreneurship and Innovations Program. Follow the progress of Ejumara, and when need be, get in touch with us and let's, work together to support your vision. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'll have Honorable take the very last bite. Honorable, if you can take our very last bite on the questions that were asked so we can wrap up now. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I thought I was in opposition, so I was only going to speak one. So I had given up and just waiting and listening. Anyway, before I even go there was something about political funding or financing. I think the corporate party political funding is way above our pay grade. I want us to look at political funding of ourselves, youth, the little project we want to undertake. Maybe a young man wants to go to a parliament. Maybe one of us want to aspire to become the national youth organizer of a party, or regional youth organizer, or constituency youth organizer. Those are the kind of funding I am thinking. Because when we go to the NDC funding, we cannot even tell where the monies are coming from. When we come to MPP funding, it is way beyond our pay grade. So I'm looking at how we can make good use of our networks. Everybody knows me here in Ghana. I am the last person you would assume or think that I will be in parliament. I had nothing, Minishi. Yes. But you see, I had friends. I had people I've served. I have people that see some potential in me. And not just they seeing those potentials, not just me serving them, but I demonstrated to them that, hey, look, when you put your one CD on me, I am going to get it. So I remember my boss, Honorable Francano Dompre, on the day or 2 nights before elections, he called me. It was like, Safoje, I'm giving you this X amount of money. If you lose the election, you pay me back. But when you win, it is for you. I mean, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say how the young ones can capitalize on our networks. How we can demonstrate to our networks that we are doing something good. I just came back from US to attend the Young Republicans conference. Their political funding is different. Look, the upcoming mayor for Florida writes mails and letters to various households soliciting for funds. The public supports the elections. But here, we support the public. For the fact that you are up there, that you want to contest for a regional youth organizer, note that every youth within the region will come for school fees or something one away from you. How are we, the young ones who want to put ourselves up, how are we going to raise money or solicit funds to go into this venture? You don't need to be rich. You need to be resourceful to look at how you can do this. Now, about mentorship. I also had a take on mentorship. About mentorship, I get a lot of call-ups in my office in Parliament. I want you to mentor me. I want you to mentor me. I don't know how the mentorship works, but it doesn't work like that for me. You see, the person needs to gel with you. Because I need to feel comfortable with the guy who is sitting in my car before I can open up. So it doesn't just come like you, Madam Akosia Menu, I want you to mentor me. I don't see how Madam can just meet somebody she doesn't know, she hasn't seen before, and then she's mentoring the person. No. I think that you first and foremost need to build a certain relationship. Then through the relationship, you give reasons why you are an asset. And trust me, the person would invest in you because you have demonstrated it. So it doesn't just come. You meet a lot of people, mentorship. It doesn't just come. Kindly build relationship. When you get the relationship, demonstrate to the mentee or the mentor that you are good in this area, good in this area, good in this area. So let me give you a classical example. I am coming here. I put up my artwork that I will be on this platform. Then I have a whole lot of NSPs in Parliament who has my number and they watch my status. Then one picks his phone and send me a write-up. Senior, I think this position, if you go this way, it will be good for you. I read it and I find that, no, this is good stuff. The next time I have another program, I just forward the invitation to him. Shall I see if you can do something on this one? Then you see him coming back to me with another write-up. Oh, senior, I think we should do this. We should have this. We should have this. He has demonstrated his potency and ability to me. And it can be in various ways. So please, the mentorship doesn't just come. How I got so close to Arnaud Dompré, and today he's been a blessing to me, was I was the SRC president in Koforidua Polytechnic. He was the youth organizer for MPP in Eastern Region. So they used to come for programs in our campus. He comes, we vibe goes. One day he came and I was the one speaking. Then he noticed that, no, this guy is good. Then he started being my friend. So I also find out a way, okay, the MPP in Eastern Region is having a program. I am the SRC president. I have control over the SRC buses. So Dompré comes to me and then we sit down, we look at how best we can release the buses to go and help the party. And then that bond grew, and we are here today. So build a relationship, put up a value. When you put up a value, the person who met, you don't even need to go and be looking for any application letter. So please, what is the next point? If I'm done, okay. I mean, opposition, we don't talk too much. Opposition, we don't talk too much. So I finally want to say that, like I said, there are a lot of youth out there who are competing for the little and small opportunity. So have a plan and demonstrate that when the opportunity is given to you, you can do something great out of it. Because the opportunity, it will only come once, it won't come again. And let me share this final story. I won't speak again. Forgive me.
Opposition pa na wakasasa.
We got to Parliament and they were doing the committees thing. Dompre knows my strength. In fact, some of the school fees, he paid it. So he knew my area. So he dropped me on the Foreign Affairs Committee against the likes of Honorable Amprechum, former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, against the likes of Honorable Charles Oredu, former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, and an ambassador, against the likes of Mavis and Kansa Boedu, former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister. Then you have the likes of Honorable Patrick Boama, 2 times committee chair for foreign affairs. Then you have Honorable Abu Jinapo. So I was the smallest, I mean title. So Dompre, knowing me and the kind of things he knows I can do, vouched for me to be the deputy ranking for that committee. In fact, sincerely, I knew there was a lot of people who were not happy. Because, Godfatherism, I was just quiet. Because I knew that I am just waiting for an opportunity. And today, most of the members I mentioned and others in Parliament comes to me and they go like, Foreign Affairs Committee and Dompre himself now feels comfortable that I validated his decision. So prepare, because the opportunity will come. Imagine I went there and I didn't perform. In fact, it would have been a shame on him for giving somebody an opportunity who the person couldn't have performed. So please, prepare. It is only when preparation meets opportunity that we see success. So please, we will be coming here, we'll be meeting here, and all that. If you don't get your own plan and prepare, opportunities will come. We will come. You attend programs and you will be clapping for us. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Wow. What an ending. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say that we are honored to have here with us also the former senator of Mombasa County in Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's recognize and welcome Honorable Senator Hassan. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I must say that this has been an incredibly educating and impactful conversation we've just had this evening. And if you do believe that our panelists have done justice to the topic that we discussed today, please, let's celebrate them one more time. Now yourself, you've been a wonderful, wonderful audience, so please celebrate yourself. Time for us to say bye-bye, and it's time for the next panel to come up. My name is David Quay. I'm the Project and Partnerships Manager at the Africa Governance Center. I'll see you on the flip side.
Photographers, can we get one quick photo with David and the panelists? Thank you. Let's give them one more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. While they're taking the photo, let me quickly acknowledge the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Mr. Idrisu Mahmoud. If you're here, a round of applause for Mr. Idrisu Mahmoud. Thank you. I'm told we have some members of TAIN here. TAIN, are you in the house? Ezu. I'm told we also have some TESCON members in the house as well. Kukrudu. The former CEO of the Ghana Enterprises Agency is here as well. She contested the Adenta parliamentary seat, the Honorable Akosia. Oh, former Deputy NYA. Yes, sorry. Yes, is here. Honorable Akosia Menu is here with us. Let's give her a round of applause as well, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we have our next panel, I have the honor to invite the CEO of the National Youth Authority. He's a lawyer, he's an architect, and he's a brilliant politician. Round of applause for Honorable Osman Ayariga.
Thank you to my brother Karim Ewura, right? Adams. I didn't know he was such a good poet. I heard him, doing some skirmishes this afternoon. I want to thank the panel that just left for such insightful discussions. And for me, there were a lot of take-homes, but a few things I picked up from what they said, especially my sister Joan said politics is not the spa, where you go to fix your nails and your hair, etc. She said politics is a struggle, it's a football pitch, it's very physical, and it can get really aggressive. And my brother Asaf Weje, also spoke about network and making sure you improve and build upon your network. Now, the question I want to ask is that coming here, or having been here since afternoon, how many contacts have you even taken? Some of you are sitting here, you've not even spoken to the next person, or the person behind you. You don't even know the person sitting next to you. Yet you are waiting to take only Honorable's number. So please, when you go out for conferences like this, or any program, the most important thing is to create as many networks as you can, get to know as many people as you can, because you don't know who would be the next MP, who will be the next president, who will be the next billionaire. And just because you met the person at this function, it may actually open many doors for you that would actually change your life. So let's endeavor to do not only this program, but many other programs when we meet. And most of you even take the numbers, you don't follow up, you don't contact the person, you leave it there. So it's one thing taking the number, it's one thing building a relationship with that person. I believe there are many foreigners in here, and I'd want to welcome you beautifully to this beautiful land of ours, the land of Kwame Nkrumah, the land of gold, the land of peace. Welcome to Ghana. And sitting here, I know we are at a youth conference or a youth forum, and today also is International Youth Day. And I thought we should greet each other in a very youthful way, maybe non-political, but very youthful way. And at least in Ghana, we have a national youth anthem, don't we? So in Ghana, the usual youth chant, whether NDC or NPP political parties, when we shout, "Oh boy," then they respond what? Hey. So we're going to greet you the Ghanaian way. So please, can we be on our feet? Let me indulge you then, after which we will sing the national youth anthem. Cho boy! Cho boya! Cho boy! Choboy, choboy, cho Thank you very much. Arise, Ghana youth, for your country. The nation demands your devotion. Let us all unite to uphold her and make her great and strong. We are all involved. We are all involved. We are all involved in building our motherland. We are all involved. We are all involved. We are all involved in building our motherland. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Thank you. At least we've been able to inject some vibrancy in the system. I realized everyone was becoming tired a bit. I think we've been talking so much, people have been sitting for long. You needed to stand up and let the blood flow inward. Yes, my name is Osman Ayariga. I'm the CEO of the National Youth Authority, and today I stand here to represent the first Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, my senior and big brother, lawyer George Opare Adu. And we keep saying he's the first Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment because previous governments had Minister for Youth, Sports, Education, and some other things. But for the first time in the history of this country, His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, felt it expedient and perfect to have a minister responsible just for youth development and empowerment. So every opportunity I get, whether on the microphone or by the fireside, whether in the classroom or at the radio station, I try to make sure that I give credit to whom credit is due. So you're welcome to Ghana once again. Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders of political parties, representatives of the African Union and regional institutions, development partners, members of the diplomatic corps, fellow youth leaders, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pride and a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you here on this remarkable day, the 12th of August, International Youth Day, to deliver the keynote address at the inaugural African Youth in Politics Forum on behalf of the Minister. Today is not just another conference. It is the beginning of a political awakening. It is a statement that Africa's young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are leaders of today. And it is a commitment that we will work together to move youth participation from the margins of politics to its very heart. We are living through a defining moment in Africa's history, with over 60% of our population under the age of 25. The so-called youth bulge is often described either as a ticking time bomb or as a demographic dividend. Depending on which side of the aisle you stand, you can either see it as a glass which is half full or half empty. The truth is, it will be whatever we choose to call it or make it. If we fail to invest in youth leadership, create inclusive political systems, and ensure young people have real seats at the table, then this immense potential, which we call the African population or the youthful population, risks turning into frustration, disengagement, or even unrest. But if we embrace youth as co-architects of governance, empowerment, and empower them with skills, resources, and decision-making power, then the youth bulge will become the driving force of Africa's democratic renewal, economic growth, and sustainable development. Too often, young people in Africa are treated as campaign foot soldiers. When I say campaign foot soldiers, people are able to associate and understand what I'm talking about, rather than as policy makers, as social media influencers, rather than as legislative influencers, as symbols rather than stakeholders. In this African continent where we find ourselves, everyone seems to be planning and developing the youth of Africa, yet no one is involving the youth in its entirety. The irony. This must change, not just by words, but by actions. Political inclusion is not an act of charity. It is a demographic or democratic imperative. Without the energy, creativity, moral clarity of youth, no political system can claim to be truly represented or future ready. The African Youth in Politics Forum is a historic response to this challenge, bringing together youth leaders, party youth wings, ministers, and development partners from across the continent. The AYPD is laying the foundation for institutionalized youth leadership pipelines in political parties, intergenerational mentorship that moves beyond rhetoric, continental cooperation in youth policy and governance reform, and a unified voice for youth inclusion in national, regional, and continental decision-making. Here in Ghana, we have a proud tradition of youth activism, of which most of us are products of youth activism and political engagement. From our independence movement to our present-day democracy. As CEO of the National Youth Authority representing the minister, I reaffirm on behalf of our minister and our government's commitment to expanding platforms for youth participation in local and national governance, in reforming institutional structures to accommodate more youth leaders, partnering with the AYPD to ensure Ghana's young leaders are represented in continental dialogues. To the young people here today, I say, do not wait for permission to lead. Your voice matters, your ideas matter, and your time is now. From South Africa to Morocco, from Somalia to Senegal, from Egypt to Madagascar, I say to you, young people, the time is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not the day after tomorrow. It wasn't yesterday, but the time is when? It's now. In Kenya, young people have shown they have the power. In Togo, there is an eruption. To our senior leaders, I say, we must not fear the rise of young leaders. We must nurture them. Political wisdom is not diminished by sharing the space. It is strengthened by it. To our older generation who fear the young shining stars, you better embrace it now, because no matter how hard you hold us, we come with so much energy that a time will come that energy would destroy you, the older person who is holding us back. Nobody will give us young people seats at the table. We will claim those seats by force. And to the many young people, you will surely be old one day. Do not be a victim of what you once fought against. Just as today we shout head over heels that give young people space at the table, when you are currently there and young people are knocking, be ready to tell them, come and have a seat at that table. That is true leadership. And to our development partners and institutions, I say, let us match our speeches with resources, our vision with action, our commitments with measurable change. Let this inaugural African Youth in Politics Forum be remembered, not just for the speeches we give today, but for the policies we implement tomorrow. Let it be said that in the year 2025, Africa chose the path of intergenerational partnership, democratic renewal, and youth-led transformation. The future is not ahead of us. It is already here, in this room, in the hands of African young leaders. Thank you very much, and may the beginning of a new era for African politics emerge, a new era of African youth. God bless you so much, and let's have a wonderful deliberation. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Lawyer Osman Ayariga, he's the CEO of the National Youth Authority. He's also the Deputy National Youth Organizer of the National Democratic Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we shall have the second panel. And just before I invite the members on the panel, I'd like to reiterate that the conference continues up until the 14th of this month. And so tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, we'll be here for the conference. And as young people, it's important that we come around and make our voices heard. So after today, don't go home and sleep. Come tomorrow, come the day after tomorrow. Come and learn, come and network, and come and share and ask all of the important questions. At this juncture, I shall now invite the members on the second panel. We're discussing building youth leadership pipelines, party reform, mentorship, and power transition. Shall we have Madame Akosua Asa Menu? She's the former Deputy CEO of the National Youth Authority and 2024 parliamentary candidate for the Adenta constituency. I live in your constituency, actually. Oh, let's give her a round of applause. Please, do better for her. Great. Next on the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Lesala Mpathi. He is the chairperson of the Revolution for Prosperity Youth League, coming all the way from the coldest country in Africa, Lesotho. Let's welcome with a round of applause. Is Lesala Mpathi here? Okay, round of applause for Lesala Mpathi. He's joining us now. Great. Of course, the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission and Deputy National Organizer for the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Elikem Kotoko. Round of applause for Elikem Kotoko, ladies and gents. We have the youth leader for Social Democratic Front, coming all the way from Cameroon, Benjamin Fru Indi. Benjamin Fru Indi. Round of applause for Mr. Benjamin Fru Indi, coming all the way from Cameroon. And of course, he's already seated, the National Youth Organizer, Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC and the CEO of the National Youth Authority. Round of applause for our panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Ordinarily, I would have sat to moderate this session, but I choose to stand because of how quickly I would want the panel session to go. We're already running out of time. There are some 5 questions that I have with me here, have been carefully prepared for you. What we will do is that I'm going to give all of you an opportunity, of course, to address all the 5 questions, except that you would have very limited time to address every question that comes to you. And so if you have a minute or 2 minutes per question, per person, 1 minute, right? So if we have a minute per question, maybe 2 minutes per question. So if it comes around, if all 5 of you speak, that's about 10 minutes per question. So we'll see. 30 to 50 minutes, less than 50 minutes, like some 30 minutes, we should wrap up. If there are any follow-up questions, we'll ask them. And of course, we'll give you an opportunity to ask questions as well. So don't be tired. You're going to enjoy this conversation, trust me. So thank you all so much for joining our panel. Let's start with, maybe first of all, just giving us a brief introduction of yourselves and, how you've ended up sitting here today. And I'll start with you from Lesotho, Mr. Mpathi, right, if I got the name right.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Like you said, my name is Lesala, and the surname is Mapati.
Oh, Mapati.
Mapati, yes.
Okay. But it's spelled MP or MA.
Maphathe.
Let's sue the organizers after this. I mean,
Oh, it's fine, it's fine. I come from Lesotho, the most coldest country in Africa.
absolutely.
Yes. I'm a youth league chair of Revolution for Prosperity Party.
Okay.
It's a leading party in a coalition government in Lesotho. Yes. I think that's all I can say.
All right. Thank you very much. I'd come to the CEO of the NYA.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Briefly, my name is Osman Ayariga. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority. I'm in charge of the youth of Ghana. We work closely under the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. I'm also the Deputy National Youth Organizer of the ruling National Democratic Congress, in charge of mobilizing the youth and making the party attractive for many young people. I'm a lawyer. Sometimes I'm an architect. And for now, I'm a full-time CEO for the government.
Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gents. The only lady on the panel.
I'm Akosia Issa Meinu. Loved ones call me Cozy. Just before December, I was Deputy CEO at the National Youth Authority, the position he's currently occupying as CEO. Also, the parliamentary candidate for the Adentan constituency, currently a youth opposition leader. Also, a special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Elikem Kotoko. I am the Deputy National Organizer of the NDC and also the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission. I believe in youth activism. Way back as a student leader, I was shot once by the police and taken to cells 4 times. It didn't stop my resolve to fight for what I believed in. I, however, think that nobody is a future leader. The future arrived yesterday, so we're already late in catching up. Thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for Mr. Elikem Kotoko. Technicians, please, can you work on the microphones for us? Yes, but let's have you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Benjamin Frundi from the Social Democratic Front Party in Cameroon. I am a member of the National Advisory Council of our party. I was formerly the youth leader of the party until our last Congress in 2023. And I am into consultancy in governance and democracy. Currently leading a newly founded foundation in honor of our leader, Ni John Frundi of blessed memory.
All right, round of applause for our brother from Cameroon. I was there in 2022 in Mayo Mesala. Yes, the town of the president. Absolutely. So just quick technical challenge. It's very normal in Ghana. Let's resolve this. Please stand on your microphones. Let's make sure that all your microphones are working before we proceed.
Hello?
1, 2.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we'll quickly. Technical challenges are normal in Ghana, but we resolve them quickly, as we just did. Right, let's give ourselves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. So great. Quickly, let's get straight into it, and I'll start with you, my Francophone brother. Or you're not from the Francophone part of Cameroon? Or you are? Or so you're from Yaoundé?
Well, from Bamenda, the English-speaking
From
side.
the English-speaking. Yeah, because Cameroon has 2 sides.
Yes.
Absolutely. You see, I know your country.
You do know your geography very well.
But let me start with you. What concrete reforms do you think that political parties need to adopt to ensure that young people do not just have seats, but actually have influence in leadership? And I can give a little background if you want me to. You have an instance where, we say like the NDC government says, we've appointed so many young people in positions, we've given them offices, you're CEO that, you're this, that. But there have been many instances in some parts of the world where young people actually have the seats, they have the positions, they've been given to them, but there's no real influence in leadership because certain people have to sit behind the scenes and, give instructions as to exactly what should be done. What strategies do political parties have to adopt to ensure that proper reforms are put in place to ensure that young people are not just occupying seats, but have actual influence in leadership?
Are we still going by your 1 minute rule?
Yes. Maybe I can give you a minute and 30 seconds.
Oh, it's a very interesting question because, first of all, I want to congratulate the people of this great country. You should be very proud of what you have, the democracy you have fought hard for, and the fact that you can celebrate the number of people who occupy the offices, the young people who occupy the offices they currently occupy, and who are representing you in parliament, and who are almost in, I can imagine, almost in every strata of the political life of Ghana. Earlier on, somebody at the back of the hall gave a statistic about the number of youth in politics across the continent and broke it down to say in 365 days, basically the youth voice in a continent with over 50% youth can only be heard 10 days of the 365 days of the year. That's because while great countries like Ghana, who have been through a lot, have decided to act on this reality of their population and answering to the needs of young people in giving them a voice, there are other parts of the continent that are stifling this voice. I come from one of those places that even though there is affirmative action, they do everything to ensure that the youth do not occupy these key positions. So permit me to start off by congratulating you for what you've achieved. Hold it dear. It's a pleasure for me to listen to these things. It inspires me to go back and tell the other youth of my country that it is possible. We can get somewhere.
In Ghana, when you say it is possible, then it means that you are endorsing the opposition party.
I am saluting. You know. Indeed. You're very good at what you do, don't you? Earlier on today, we were reminded of the vision. If one country is free and the rest of them are not, we cannot celebrate that as freedom. So if you're making this progress and we don't turn around and celebrate it, to get the inspiration, to catch up, those statistics will hold us at the back, on the back burner. And that's where parties that are in certain democracies, in quote, because the exercise is just to be in lockstep with international norms in order not to face suspensions from international bodies. So every now and again, an election is organized in order to just color the place as a democracy. But in reality, these exercises don't necessarily produce the results that reflect our own realities. We equally are a country of over 60% youth, but we have a president who is 93 years old, who is being proxy put to run again. They've been in power for 43 years. The average age of ministers range between 60 and 70 years old. So that you see why I said your 1 minute rule can be very difficult for me. And our agenda is give the young people the opportunity. And so I salute what has been done. It takes a lot of courage. As they always say, they generally accuse young people of being ignorant or easily manipulated, or have you had enough experience to manage public office? Meanwhile, I am sure if the NDC as well as the other panelists from Sierra Leone indicated, if their leaders are taking such a strong step supporting and uplifting young people into leadership positions, it means at least somewhere these young people have delivered and have delivered elaborately.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, we need to continue, we need to learn on some of of course, the success story of how you select and put these young people on the map, as well as learn from the failures. How have they faced, what challenges have they faced, and how have they overcome these challenges?
All right. Thank you very much. Round of applause for him, ladies and gents. Because you're the first speaker, I allowed you to overrun a bit. And because you're not from Ghana, you're a visitor, so we're only welcoming you nicely. But let me come to you, Elikem Kotoko, on the same question. How must political parties ensure that young people are not just occupying seats, but have actual influence, leading the roles that they, leading in the positions that they occupy?
This reminds me of a conversation I had with one senior member of our party, and it had other young people present. And what I said to them was this: I hope we are all not criticizing the MPP and condemning them for all their ills because we feel disadvantaged and not the ones in their position to do much worse. If that be the case, then it's best to keep quiet. Many young people feel the need to be in politics either because they feel they cannot play football to make money quick. They don't come from a rich home to be bequeathed with wealth, or they do not have, basically, many. So some now see even politics as an enterprise where they would have to go there and make money quick. So the focus is very shifted from what it's supposed to be. So many are not seeing politics as an avenue to be a change agent, but rather, the moment we get power, what can I make within the first week? What can I make within the next 1 year? What will I leave behind in the next 5 years? And it is the reason why we as young people ought to do a self-introspection of what is the driving force as to what we intend to do in politics. Because others have now, we now have a lot of prostitution going on in politics. But don't get me wrong. What I mean by these is that we have entrepreneurs who also feel that they cannot only belong to one political side. A business person is holding a membership card of the NDC, and he's equally holding the membership card of the NDP. And so whichever party comes to power, he's a member of that party. That is a pure entrepreneurial prostitution. But if we can have certain reforms, like having maybe the Ghana Political Parties Bureau, which will ensure that that bureau is the singular custodian of political membership of political parties. What it means is that no single person can hold a membership of one and then hold that of the other. But as young people, the driving force is what we need to look at. Are we going there in order to seek self-interest or the interest of the majority? I have said this. Coincidentally, before coming here, I had an engagement with a number of young people outside. And it seems many of the things being discussed here were the very topics I was discussing with them. That do not think that the purpose for which you want to be in politics is to be popular, is to be on TV, is to be seen, is to be known or be heard, but rather identify a problem and find a way to solve it. That is what you can lay credence on as your relevance.
Okay.
And if there's no such thing, then it means we are just having an all-play-all affair, where whichever direction we are moved in, today it is this way, let's go that way. Tomorrow it is that way, and let's go that way. it is actually stifling progress in Africa, not only Ghana, because many of our young people, like the member of parliament said, instead of the public, I forgot what he said, instead of the public serving us,
Yeah, we serve the public.
we are rather serving them. Because the moment you take public office, it comes with a lot of demands. I can't pay my rent, my school fees is due, my leg is aching, I've got to do this, and it is all the responsibility of the politician. So where do you expect him to get all that funds from to do what you are expecting of him? And I have lastly always said to young people, when you approach politicians and you need a favor, the number one thing you should be seeking is self-development. If you are given a job today, you can be fired tomorrow. If you are given money today, it will finish tomorrow. But if you are given education, that piece of paper, whatever you call it, it is yours and nobody can take it away from you. Thank you.
Round of applause for him, ladies and gents. Should ask Osman Ayariga and Akosia Menu the amount of momo they have sent today. It's not a joke. But let me come to you, Kozi.
It's interesting you say that because those requests don't magically vanish when you're out of power.
Charlie.
It's not as rampant, but it continues to come. Let me just say, first of all, congratulations to the organizers of this program. The aesthetic is pleasing, and I think we can do better. It looks great. So I want to reframe your question on, I think it should be more about how do we have genuine youth representation that is not just performative. So let's say we are organizing a program, we want young people to participate, and we are ticking the box of youth participation, but we are not essentially taking the feedback of what concerns them, what ails them, what opportunities we can create to make things better.
Absolutely.
And to follow up on the data that he gave on 60, 70-year-olds, by and large across Africa, if you look at the data, it's about 3% of Africa's population that is under the age of 30, that is in formal political leadership, as compared to 60% of the population of Africa that is under 25 years of age.
Wow.
So you have 60% of the population under 25 years of age, but in formal political leadership, you only have 3% of young people leading the charge.
Wow.
So clearly we have to do better. But when you look at the issues or the barriers, it's no different from that of Ghana. So for instance, a young person wants to get into things he's capable and has the leadership qualities to get into, to be an MP, like Honorable said before leaving. High candidate fees. There's even cultural norms, depending on the society you come from. Just the mere thought that a young person wants to lead will be shot down. And these things impede the progress. So what I feel, or what I believe we need to work towards, is not just ticking the box or creating avenues where there's youth representation, and essentially giving advisory roles. Young people should be part of policy making. It should be entrenched so that we deliberately and intentionally create leaders out of them. Now, I think that we often sort of idolize politicians in some ways, although they are the easiest to also attack. And getting to wanting to be in that space, typically for young people, leadership is ultimately seen that as a politician who is ultimately going to become a minister or some CEO somewhere, but it's not, that shouldn't be the end goal. The young lady who asked the question before said, what do we do if we don't belong to either or the top political parties, but we still want to be seen? Osman and I laughed at the back because genuinely, clearly, I mean, if you are not cooking, do you get to eat? No. But truth is, as polarized as our society seems to be with the politics, you know, when we sit here, we spar and we see all the nice things, but we go at each other, and sometimes the perception is created that we hate each other so much. But we are often friends behind the scenes. But what we need is youth champions that can call us out, that isn't dependent on any political party's machination. I don't know if you get it. So that in being deliberate about it, that representation we seek can be created by you. And he ended his speech earlier saying that we are not going to be given a seat, we will take that seat. So there's opportunity. There's opportunity in advocacy, there's opportunity in activism, and you can literally make it happen for you, especially in the times that we're in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for Cozy, ladies and gentlemen. And Osman, I don't know if I want to change your question or you want to share something. Now, if you have something to share, why not?
I'll have just a bit to share.
Sure.
But I mean, the question you asked me got me laughing. I just remembered a short story of a very popular old chief who was always sleeping at council meetings. And when they wake him up to ask him of his opinion, they say, "Oh, the Ochame Kaino." So whatever the Ochame said, he associates with it. But even though I associate with what they say, I just wanted to add a few things to it. You see, the question was, what concrete reforms can political parties adopt to ensure youth have not just seats, but influence in leadership? You see, we need to look at it from two perspectives. First, the seats, and two, the influence. Now, do we have enough seats? The answer is no. So, meaning the entire structure even is problematic. Because you go to the political party system and they say, oh, for the youth, let's give them a seat, which is youth organizer position. So the psyche or the thinking is that giving the youth organizer position for the youth is enough for the youth. But forgetting that the youth constitute close to 50% of the entire population. Absolutely. So in effect, if you're going to do a proper proportional distribution, that means that you should have 50% of the youth in that entire executive organogram. That would be a proper proportional distribution of seats. But they just give you one seat at the executive position and say, oh, youth represent the youth. So even the number of seats is not adequate. Now, if you go to other jurisdictions, and not to ridicule any country, if you go to Uganda, I mean, arguably, I think they have one of the oldest presidents. But you know, even in their parliamentary system, they have seats based on regional basis for youth.
Okay.
In parliament. So just as you have this constituency, that constituency in Uganda, they also have youth MPs who have to sit in the parliament representing the youth based on certain regions that have been demarcated in certain ways. So you see that even in their democracy, they have youth representation even in parliament. I don't know of the rest of the African countries, but I believe some are also practicing the same around the Eastern Africa. So you see that there's that conscious effort to make sure the youth are properly represented in terms of numbers. Okay. Now, the second side of the question has to do with the influence. That is very subjective. You can be given the seats at the table, but that doesn't automatically translate into influence. Influence is earned based on the value you bring to that table. Okay. So you can fill the table or you can fill the house with youth, but they will still not have that influence if they themselves are not adding value to what they've been asked to do. So when you talk about the influence, then I think that it has to do with the youth themselves, their capacity, and how well they want to add value to whatever they do. You can have one person represent the youth, but the person will bring more influence than even if you had 50 people in that meeting. So increasing the number of seats is one thing which we support, but the influence also has to do with that individual and how well they build themselves to add value to be able to amass that influence and reflect that influence onto the youth of the country. So as young people, we need to try as much as possible to add value wherever we find ourselves, however we find ourselves, whatever it is that we're doing. Otherwise, we will just be another statistic representing space. I mean, the science student used to define matter as anything that has weight and
occupies space.
Occupies space. So you become matter. You just be occupying the space.
Round of applause. Shall we now have Lesala Mapathi from Lesotho?
Thank you very much. I must say you asked a very good question. Because what happens in Moni, we have. So I think that is influenced by various factors. But I'm going to talk about three because of time. What makes young people, when they are given strategic positions, to be shunned is the manner at which the job is allocated. If you are being radical or troublesome to the politicians, they make you shut by giving you a position, and you will never raise your voice against them once they have done that. Secondly, it's your long-term vision. If you don't have a vision, you won't speak on behalf of young people. Because we know to get to the politics, you have to be elected. If you cannot think of your future, you will end up being shut, and you will never speak on behalf of the people who voted you to be in politics. So if you can consider that you need to stay in politics for a longer period of time, then anytime you are given a chance to speak on behalf of the young people, you will do so, because you know that next time they will elect you.
Absolutely.
Number 3, understanding the agenda. If you don't understand the agenda of a position you are given, there will never be a point where you can debate or talk more about it, because you don't understand the agenda or the position you are given. That's why you always be quiet. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So far, he's the only person who stuck to time. Another round of applause for him. But let me come back to my second question, and I'll start with you, Kosi, on this particular one. Now, there's this general notion out there that a lot of people who are given positions, political party positions, are mostly given the positions because they are loyalists, because they have chosen to be, yasa masa, more of errand boys and girls, to people at the highest, at the acme of political authority. How do we ensure, and in this case, I want you all to put yourselves in the shoes of people who are there. How would you ensure in future that when you're president or you are the party chairman or party vice chairman, how would you ensure that you are given leadership positions to young people who are truly representative of the people that you want to serve, and not people who are necessarily loyalist to you?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that loyalty doesn't count. Politics actually runs a lot on loyalty. But I believe that to cure it somewhat, political leaders should not just look for loyalists. They should look for people who are loyal, one, but who have fidelity to competence, high levels of competence, or who struggle for excellence, and who have the country at heart. So that in any position they find themselves in, they are more concerned about what would be the best outcome for this country. And that way, it transcends to enable us find genuine representation, not just a party faithful who goes around saying, the names they give some of those in power now, Okumkom, Owomie, Oyadie, they will give you all these appellations, but often the genuine ones, I'm not to say those who praise sing are not genuine. I'm just saying that those who are intentional in particular often are not the loudest in the room, but then their competence and the potential for that is there. So what we have to be intentional about is finding that, yes, it's a character trait to be loyal. However, does that person strive for excellence? Is that person committed to the cause of this country to uphold it at all times? And that way, I believe that we'll continue to find genuine representation within our space.
Awesome. Thank you. Elikem. A round of applause for Kosi, please. Yes.
I have learned that there are certain key or rudiments that are very necessary in politics. Loyalty is one of them. It will not be lost on me if the mention of loyalty comes to bear, because in the past administration, it looked as though loyalty played a major role than any other. I believe, however, that certain key things you need in politics, the number one being patience. You need to be very patient enough to know that there are times you don't need to take certain things on, even though you either may be right or wrong. Then also is tolerance. Your ability to tolerate other people and serve in a team is a key thing that other people see in you. And at the right time, at that table where your name will be mentioned, they will easily point out to you. Endurance is very, very key. In politics, if you cannot endure, then you are not meant for politics. Because mud will be thrown at you, and truths will be told about you, but sometimes you are better off being mute than wanting to respond. Then the last one, which encapsulates all of these, is discipline. If you are very disciplined, you can go through all of these. Now, being loyal is not enough, because that will make us put a lot of square pegs in round holes. And that has been the case, without wanting to give any references or make any examples. But many of us here can, off-head, make mention of certain people. We can tell that, no, this one, I'm sorry. But there must be some level of gravitas, the capacity that Joanna talked about. That is the driving force. You must show or demonstrate your capability. In the past, ideologies of political parties would have mattered most. The NDC is left of center. Maybe you are right of center. But today, what matters most to the Ghanaian or to the African there is the speed of urgency in delivery. If I don't have water running through my taps, what I need is water running through my taps. I don't care whether you are left of center or right of center. I just need the speed of urgency in delivering that water to my doorstep. So as a people moving forward, we ought to also realize the major reason why we all need to build capacity, because it readies you for whatever eventuality. So if tomorrow you are called on, loyalty becomes an added service. It's just like the vehicles we see today. The reason why 2024 model will be considered better than 2023 or 2022 will be just because of the value-added services. Maybe this one now has a rain sensor. This one can roll the glass when it is raining. But all of them are vehicles that can move you from one point to the other. So there's a need for us to improve on from that end. And somebody like me, I have always said to many people, I do not believe in the Godfather syndrome. Because more of the time, it is an avenue to find ways to use and twist you to the chagrin or to the benefit of that Godfather. I am not saying disrespect people. Don't worship people. But you can be respectful to them, and they will still realize the value in you. Like my sister said, hey, when they see you, they want to give you all the appellations. You know it even yourself that some of those appellations are not attributable to you. You can know, many names come to mind. They see you as, hey, you are the next president. Oh, you are the next substantive minister. You are the next this and that. All is because they want you to throw some crumbs at them. And I have said consistently, as young people, if you easily fall for crumbs when walking on the corridors of power, then it means you are compromising your future, which has the potential of making you bigger and better. Thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for Elikem Kotoko. My brother from Cameroon, let me.
Thank you. I mean, very beautifully said. And I'll take on from there to say that's the reason we're here. That's the reason I've come to participate in this political party's initiative. It's that constant reminder that ours is a noble cause of service to the people, and which implies we must learn at all costs to put the people's interests ahead and learn to put ourselves at the service of people It takes a lot to forget yourself and put the people ahead. It requires a lot of the virtues that my dear brother has highlighted here very well. Loyalty can sometimes pass for a phrase, but when it comes to what matters, the work we need to put in as young people, the challenge it poses. As young people already, it is normal that life is throwing its own challenges at you. We're growing up, we're learning how to be mature people. We have families, and our families are giving us the challenges that are natural to our human lives. So add on all of that with the pressure and the expectation that 25, 30, 40 million people are placing at your doorstep. It's very easy for you to break. But it will require for you to hold on to something much deeper. Some people call it loyalty, some people call it grit, some people call it dedication. But the question is, to what? Is it to a person? Is it to an office? Is it to a desire? Or is it to service? And I think that's what we need to encourage across the continent. Sitting on this side, the beauty of the lights makes you enjoy the stage. But there's always that question of the other side. How do you serve in a way that even if you are not on the stage, it meets your own expectations, it meets your own wishes? So therein lies the challenge.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, round of applause for Fru as well. I want to change the question for the sake of time, so that at least we can run through all of the questions that we have here. And so pardon me for Osman and Mapathi. Let me change this question for you. It's a very interesting question. You'd actually love this particular question.
You're not letting my apple drop.
I understand, but you see, your apple would be similar to that of the chief who sleeps in state. I mean, I know you'd add something significant, but for the sake of time, there's another very key challenge that we have. And for instance, you take a critical look at the Communist Party in China, and you realize that they are very intentional about succession. It's more of an indoctrination of the youth. And so the moment you set off and say, hey, I want to get into politics, I want to get into national leadership, there's some sort of intentional indoctrination, that prepares you for that particular journey. So you know that once you start from school all the way to the point where you're fortunate enough to occupy the highest office of the land, you are carefully groomed, you are carefully trained, you understand the ideologies of the political party that you belong to. When you come back here, and I can use Ghana for example, you have a political party like the New Patriotic Party that's known to be a capitalist party, but you get them implementing socialist policies like free SHS. Okay? Then you ask yourself, what really are the ideologies of the political parties that we choose? We belong. A lot of people here voted either NDC or MPP. Some of them have party cards. They don't know the ideology of the political party that they're supporting. So how do we carefully ensure that we are providing the right kind of mentorship to groom the next batch of leaders?
Yes, thank you very much. Before I come to the issue of grooming the next batch of leaders, I just want to take a bite on the loyalty.
I saw that coming.
Karim, I don't think we need to play the ostrich, especially as leaders and as politicians. There is nothing wrong with making sure you put loyalty at the front burner so far as recruitment is concerned.
Okay.
I quite remember in primary school reciting the Ghana Pledge. And what did it tell us? I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. I pledge myself to the service of Ghana with all my strength and with all my heart. I promise to hold in high esteem our heritage won for us through the blood and toil of our fathers. I pledge myself in all things to uphold and defend the good name of Ghana. So help me God.
That is loyalty. That is a country looking for loyalty from its citizens. So if the country Ghana is even looking for loyalty, whom am I?
I like that.
Not to look for loyalty or not to make sure that we make sure that our loyalists are put there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying that let's look for loyalty. In fact, in that loyalty, that person will strive to be competent. Because the person is loyal to Madam Akosia. I mean, the person makes sure that her bag is always clean. If today the bag is not clean and tomorrow she sees that my madam wasn't well represented, she will make sure that it's part of her work to make sure the bag is clean. So the person will strive to be competent. So let's not even take loyalty out of the equation. Because even Ghana is looking for loyalty. Talk less of we, the citizens in the country. We want to mix it out to a bit competent. It's better to put an incompetent, loyal person there who will learn to be competent than to put a competent person there who will not be loyal to you and the country. Now, with the issue of mentorship, you would, and I think it's been happening, but in a very subtle way.
Okay.
And I'll give you very classical examples. And I know it's happening in various institutions, especially university institutions, where most often than not, the youth wing of the various political parties go in there, try to pick SRC candidates, SRC students, try to nurture them. It's not really institutionalized. And if you listen to Honorable Asafo, he spoke about the fact that when he was SRC president, he got to interact with Arnaud Dompré, and that's how the mentorship came about. Now, what the NDC, my political party, the pace setters as usual, what we have done, what we have done is to institutionalize what we call the party school. And the party school is supposed to train many young people on the ideologies, the ideals, the fundamentals, the principles of the National Democratic Congress and social democracy. So moving on, before you even hold party position, before you even appointed into government, you should have gone through the mill to understand what the party stands for and how you should govern and how you should even portray yourself, how you should think, and how the party or the government really wants to move. So we already have an institution, but it's not so institutionalized, as in we don't have it so big, but in the party school or in the party headquarters, we have what we call the party school, which most of the time we move from region to region. We train already existing party executives. But moving on, we're looking at making sure that even before you contest any position, you should have a certificate from the party school that you've gone through some training. And that is what you're talking about, the communist state. They have a proper plan.
Yeah.
And that is what we are doing in the NDC. So I can speak for the NDC. I cannot
I mean, the MPP recently also came up with a cozy, said we were setting up something similar.
Yeah, but that's what they learned from us.
Okay, so let's have you, Mapati, intentionality.
I think before we talk of mentoring, you need to have a spirit and a culture of leadership as a young person.
Okay.
That's where you are going to get a motivation from. We also need to have a fearless as a young person, because when you are a leader, you need to be fearless. You also have to be bold and be decision-oriented leader. Then we can talk about capacity building as part of mentorship. But this should start from you. What do you want? What do you aspire to be? What is your motivation? I don't know in the Western Africa what's happening, but something I know in the Southern Africa, there is a leader who is an inspiration to young people, a president of Burkina Faso. So I think if you can have that in mind, that at some point you want to be like a president of Burkina Faso, that's where you are going to grow a leadership motivation. But besides that, when you talk about mentoring, we mean a capacity building. We have to shape the energy that the young people has. Because the energy we have, if it cannot be shaped to be an asset to you, you can misuse it. I know we are energetic. Anytime there is elections, we are the one who runs those campaigns as young people. Anytime there is disputes, we are the one who are going to fuel that to run the smear campaigns against other people. But that energy needs to be shaped to a proper direction. So when you talk about capacity building again, we need to establish leadership programs, school of political programs. In our country, in Lesotho, we have a program where we are grooming young people, Kapang. Yes, young people. We have a little prime minister. We have a little commander. We have a little commissioner of police. We are trying to instill leadership at that age so that these young people, when they grow with that motive of becoming leaders.
All right, thank you, Mapathi. Let's give Mapathi. Elikem wants to touch on that briefly.
Yeah, just a little to add on.
60 seconds.
One other challenge with Africa has been that after our colonial masters left us, our education has been standardized till date. Everybody goes to primary, we study the same thing across, we go to junior high school, the same thing. Meanwhile, the problem in Western region is different from the problem in Eastern region. The problem in the Central region is different from the problems in Greater Accra. So we need to begin to reorient and look at how even education can be more customized in order to serve the needs of problems. Because the major reason for education is to solve societal problems, apart from being aware and being informed. And so if we do not migrate from standardized education to a more customized education, then the challenge will still be there. But we can only justify it by saying, well, at the tertiary level, we do that. At the basic, we are supposed to know all of this. But best habits are cultivated most when at the very basic level. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Fu, you wanted to touch on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I've had these debates with other young people about distinguishing between seeking public office and leadership. I mean, there's a statistic in the statistic we need to think about. Matter of fact, if we are over 60% youth on the continent of what, how many billion, or take Cameroon, for instance, 60% of 30 million people, you will never have enough public office space to go around to every young person. So the ideal is, are we looking for public office, or do we want to lead in our various domains, which goes back to the question or the point of mentorship. And this is why opportunities like this, where we are sharing leadership skills, how do we transfer this, how do we empower young people to lead in various aspects, in the various denominations they find themselves in order for us to push the continent ahead. I just felt it was important to remind ourselves that we were looking for leaders. We're not looking for political officers.
Did you listen to that last statement? It says we are looking for leaders. We are not looking for political office holders. That's deep. Please, Mombon Semana. Okay, so I'm not going to ask any question again, but you have an opportunity to tell young people seated in this room, young people watching you online, young people that are going to get to watch this video someday, somewhere, somehow, what you will do differently going forward. 30 seconds. I'll start with you, Mapathi. What will you do differently as a young leader for fellow young people?
It's fortunate that in our political party, we have a policy that's talk of meritocracy. We came to politics because we wanted to change the whole narratives. In Lesotho, before RFP get to government, for young people to get a job, they had to go through politics until we came in power and introduced a meritocracy policy. Now to get a job in our country, you need to qualify for that position, regardless of whether you support a leading political party or not. But jobs are allocated to those who deserve them. And those that deserve them is the ones who has qualifications that meets those jobs. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Osman?
The question was,
what will you do differently as a young leader for fellow young people? What one thing will you do differently?
Well, that's a difficult question because there are so many things we want to do differently for many young people. But one thing I can tell young people is that for us, especially for me, Osman Ayariga, being the CEO of the National Youth Authority, and today also being the International Youth Day, is to tell all young people that one thing I would do differently for young people is to be loyal to young people. Thank you.
Kosi, I'll come to you last. Let me take Elikem.
I would only advise, rather, that you start from where you stand. Come what may, many of us look at other people and use them as a measuring rod for where we think we want to be. But you would have to start from somewhere. And again, the greatest problem I wish I can help solve is the get-rich-quick syndrome, where every young person thinks that once he even finishes from university, he must drive a Corolla the next day, and the next week he must drive a Range Rover, and the next moment he must be flying the most expensive jet. So you must start from where you stand. That is the best way we can actually take the best foot forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Benjamin?
In 8 weeks, Cameroon will be going in for a presidential election. And unfortunately, our political space is very cynical. The youth have a certain loyalty to names, not to service, which is a huge challenge, especially for people like myself who want to participate and who want to make a difference. Not because I want an office, but because for me to live the life I really want to live, things need to be different. And so my engagement with the youth is to be able to speak not only for Cameroon, but for every space where the youth need to hear, and for those voices equally to speak about the problems that are in other countries. As a matter of fact, if there are quite a number of young people who believe that we should fall into a military dictatorship and that the military will be able to take concise and quick action and build roads overnight and build hospitals overnight, but they're missing that critical ingredient of harmonizing the people for us to be able to talk, for us to be able to look for solutions together. So what I would most want to be is to be a bridge in order that we can all speak as one people and as one family. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's give our panelists a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course, we'll take Kosi's take.
What I would do differently. There was a particular question I was looking forward to that you left out. But I think as a politician, the most undesirable trait to have is to have no history of having empowered people or mentored people or having any traits of being intentional with mentorship. And in the last 8 years, when I was given the opportunity, I believe I was able to empower a number of young people. But I don't want to restrict it to just the political space. I want to extend it beyond the political space. because we won't be youth forever, but we'll always love the youth. And for some of them, the political space is not the all in all for them, and they can actually still contribute meaningfully to their various communities. Thank you.
Round of applause for Cozy, ladies and gents. And now can we do a louder one for the panelists? And of course, let's do a much more louder one for yourselves for sitting in through it. I can see a few empty seats, but the rest of you have remained loyal, as Osman mentioned, and you've sat through. Photographers, can we get photos of the panel? So please, let's step forward. Yeah, we can stand up, and then the photographers would get that. While that's happening, let's prepare for the launch and unveiling of the African Youth in Politics Forum Brand and Roadmap. This would be done by Miss Cleopatra Azantili. Oh, hold on. All right, thank you very much. A round of applause for our panel, ladies and gentlemen, once again. And shall we now have... And don't forget to follow the Africa Governance Center on social media. There's a lot of updates there for you.
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. And we thank you for joining us at the Africa Governance Center. The Honorable Representative of the Minister of Youth, Development and Empowerment, distinguished guests, and fellow youth leaders from across Africa, it is with great pride that I stand before you to present a document that I believe will become a defining guide for youth political leadership on our continent, which is the African Youth in Politics Forum Strategic Plan. This is not just a report, but it is a roadmap for the transformation and a plan to move Africa's young people from being voices on the sidelines to being decision makers at the heart of governance. And this is important because Africa's future is in the hands of its youth, who are over 60% of our population. The AYPF strategic plan recognizes that opportunity alone is not enough. And so without structures, without resources, and deliberate inclusion, this demographic advantage could be lost. And so our plan ensures that we do not waste the potential of young people. This plan outlines a 5-year roadmap for the AYPF, focusing on building youth leadership, pipelines within political parties and governance structures, reforming institutions to guarantee intergenerational inclusion, whilst establishing mentorship and capacity building platforms such as the Youth Political Innovation Lab in order to ensure that we consolidate on the advantages that young people have within Africa. And so today we are not merely launching a plan, but we are making a promise to work with you young people and senior leaders, civil society, political parties, and development partners to ensure that young Africans are not just part of the political conversation, but active architects of policy and governance. So our time frame for this activity would include the establishment of an AYPF secretariat, which will be a component of the Africa Governance Center, and then the launch of a Youth Innovation Political Lab. So the young people here, please take advantage of these opportunities in order to ensure that capacity building is one way through which you develop yourself. Then we hope by 2027, we will publish the first Youth Political Inclusion Index from Ghana, which will indicate the number of young people that are actively participating in politics within the African sub-region. The African continent, sorry.
Finally, by 2028, we hope to host 5 regional youth political summits within various parts of Africa and also advocate to the African Union for the adoption of a Pan-African youth political inclusion framework within 2029 to 2030. In presenting this plan to you today, I am handing over more than just pages bound together, but a blueprint for Africa's democratic renewal, a plan that will define the next generation of youth political leadership. Thank you very much, and we look forward to having you coming for our remaining sessions. God bless you all. Thank you.
When anyone asks you why I behave like I do, tell them that I'm a young man from far whose destiny has brought me this near. Tell them that I cannot afford to fail the very people who look up to me on a daily for inspiration. Tell them that there's a mission unaccomplished, and so I cannot stop to take second stares at barking dogs, that I am my own motivation. Tell them I'm that young man with a vision on a mission to a destination that will redeem my people from condemnation. Tell them that I'm a descendant of the spear holder, the warrior king. He who goes to the stream with a basket, he who weaves rocks with his palms. Indeed, tell them that I'm a true pedigree of the legendary leader Ndeura Jakpa, the warrior king who came from far and never failed. Tell them that I'm a grandson of the conqueror, that the wildlife of Mole is my playground, that I'm spiritually fortified by the azan of the muazzin at Larbanga. Tell them that the mystic stone listens to my prayers at all times. Tell them that I hail from Daboya, the land of the white gold. Tell them that the fabrics of my batakari are carefully selected by the best of smoke weavers. Their patterns are reigned by magnificent maidens enameled in melanin. Tell them that I'm not a hungry child, that my home is a cradle of agriculture, the hub of food, and the pond of fish. The Dakar, the black and white Volta lakes pass through my grandfather's house. Tell them that I will stay and build. Like an Nkrumah, I'll redeem my people from the hands of oppression. Tell them that I'm a Mandela set for a new and united Africa. Tell them that I'm a voice of a Kagame, the fist of a Lumumba. Tell them that the Mediterranean will not have a feel of my flesh. Tell them that I'm an African rising high to the tippy top of the Kilimanjaro, flowing through the Zambezi, the Nile, and the Dakar. Tell them that I will stay and build. And tell them that as long as the human species continues to multiply, so shall I grow, and so tell them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And this brings us to the end of this evening's session. Don't forget that the summit continues tomorrow and the day after, and so please do well to come around and be part of the conversations, ask the relevant questions, and don't forget to network. Make sure you take a phone number, make sure you take an email, make sure you get a social media handle, and keep in touch so that together we can build the Africa that we want together. God bless you. My name is Euro Adams Karim. Bye for now.